6 happily surprising things about living in America. Come on, let's learn them all right now.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to the things that surprise us. Specifically, for me, the things that happily surprise me about living in the United States. Now, this might seem like a strange video to do at this time while many of us are trapped in our quarantine bunkers, but once we all emerge, I'm excited to start
I think it's nice. Usually you can only hear bad stuff about America, so someone that says good stuff is really welcome. Come on.
Enjoying many of these things very, very soon, even though I didn't get to for the first 26 years of my life. America, today I salute you. Here are 6 happily surprising things about living in the United States.
Little free.
Sometimes, it's the little things in life, or should I say, the litter things in life that please people.
Good point.
And, growing up in a country that is a wasteland, quite frankly. I'm joking, Britain's not that bad. But we do have a tendency just to, throw litter around. And sometimes now, I've been hearing, back in Britain, since I've left, we've had this problem with fly tipping. And that's where, people are dumping their trash. But even minus that, I just got this general sense that Britain was just a bit more littery than America. In America, everywhere's super clean. That's one of the great things about it. You can enjoy the oxygen around you, knowing that it hasn't touched a chewing gum wrapper. This is usually the case, and I'm taking the examples of the places I've lived. This is about 4 different cities at this point, and in each and every one of them, you have very green, very well-kept gardens, very clear sidewalks, although in some cases that could be because
looks like China.
But it's really refreshing to go to the beach here in Chicago and not find discarded chippy wrappers or crushed Coca-Cola cans or used condoms. Americans people are just better about not littering, and I know that sounds like a generalization of the wild variety, and it makes me sound like a crotchety old man telling people to get off his yard, but at least my yard is clean. I mean, most in Britain are, to be fair. It's mostly the streets, and I should know, I grew up on the mean streets of Grimsby. It was actually a nice area.
Everywhere in Europe is like that. We got that problem.
Sometimes the streets would still be littered with caviar containers.
Soccer field.
This one was hugely surprising, especially as a fan of football, or as they say in the rest of the English-speaking world, soccer, because
look.
Especially as a fan of football, or as they say in the...
So funny. Sepak bola, football, teacher. Football, soccer, football, soccer, football, soccer, football, Paolina Chitra in Madagascar, calcio in Italy. We are the only one in Europe that don't say football. So we can't be bothered if someone says soccer instead of football. We don't give a fuck. To us, it's just calcio.
The rest of the English-speaking world, soccer, because, I'd always sort of understood America to not be truly interested in soccer or football. And in many respects, this is still true, at least, when things are normal and sport is still happening. America still prioritizes NFL, basketball, hockey, and what's the other one? Baseball, above all other sports. And so it was just really surprising to this fresh-faced Brit who came equipped with a soccer ball to find that there were soccer fields aplenty. They were everywhere, even in Anderson, Indiana, right, which is the place that I've lived that had the lowest population. But off the top of my head, I can already think of about 5 soccer fields in that city alone. They're very, very widespread, at least in the eastern portion of the United States. I can't speak for the sort of the plains and the Rockies, because can you imagine having soccer fields high up in the mountains? It might happen. If you live in those areas, let me know in the comments below. But I think one of the chief reasons that there are just so many of them is that they're very popular with school-age people. And of course, it is one of
Actually, this is very interesting, because when I went in Asia, it was basically impossible to find soccer fields. I mean, here in Europe, you can find them pretty much anywhere. It's pretty easy. I have one right outside my house. I always hear the kids shouting like crazy when they play. So it's pretty, I would say every city, my city has like 7,000, a population of 7,000. There are like 4 soccer fields. So yeah, it's pretty normal. But to think that in America you will also have it, wow, that is incredible. That is really cool.
The sports in the United States played by women. You've just got to look at the overwhelming success of the US.
The women's soccer is the best in the world in America.
About 2.5 million World Cups. England, of course, still waiting on theirs. And speaking of waiting, that brings us on to this.
Free. Oh, I love
America is
that.
known as the land of the free, and I always thought that was
I
quite
love
weird
that.
because I always considered Britain to be quite free, as in we had freedoms. But then I started to think, well, maybe it comes down to the little things, right? Something I noticed, of course, and I've talked about on this channel, is you can get free refills in any kind of restaurant on your sodas, and the same is true of entering public toilets. Except you don't drink the contents. Let's be clear about that. What I'm saying is, in Britain, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, public toilets will charge you an entry fee in order to use it. And I can understand why
In
they
Europe,
do this,
they do that a
partly
lot.
for the upkeep of said public toilets.
The crazy part was that I just came back from Prague last month. I went there. Every fucking where you have to pay to go to the toilet, even in McDonald's, even in the malls. That was crazy. Wow. I mean, in Italy, yes, they charge as well, but when you go to the mall or to McDonald's, you can just go free. You don't have to pay. It's kind of crazy to pay to go to the toilet. That's what it is.
But it's a big problem when you really need to go. Nobody wants to find themselves in a race to find their change versus a race to change their knickers. In America, though I'm sure there are some quirky exceptions somewhere, you never have to worry about that. You just have to worry that people can see you through the crack.
Window
I feel like
screens.
I've mentioned window
What is
screens
that?
a lot in my videos, but you're not really in the context of how they've brought me a lot of joy. And that might sound really strange, right? But in England, we never had them. And we also never had air conditioning. So you find yourself in this strange situation, particularly on a warm summer's day, of having to open the window just to get some fresh air in. But of course, with that comes some other things. Things like, mosquitoes, which, to be fair, in Britain aren't anywhere near as bad as they are in the American Midwest. Or Big Daddy Longlegs, or bees. Bees can get in the house, and who wants that?
Ooh, I
Now,
hate that.
bees and wasps and things like that are probably the most dangerous things that might get into your house in Britain. So it's not really a huge concern, but it can be an irritation, and it's an irritation that's largely alleviated in the United States by the existence of these window screens. I'm not saying that insects don't get in at all. I mean, I've seen enough ant colonizations in my kitchen to know that that's not true. But I do not remember the last time I encountered a wasp, a bee, or a mosquito inside my apartment. It just doesn't really happen. But the big revelation that is window screens doesn't just stop bugs from getting in.
Is every
also
house
stops
equipped with
somebody
the window
from getting
screens
out.
in
I'm
America?
not talking about my wife. She uses the door. Now in Britain, people might be a little less concerned about this because, there's more of an outdoor cat culture there. But my cat, much like the cats of many people in the United States, is very decidedly an indoor cat. And if I want to open the window, as I did today, right, there are occasions during spring and autumn when, it's not hot enough for the air conditioning unit and it's not cold enough for the heating. You want to crack a window open, right? And if that were the case in Britain on a lower floor or even the second floor, your cat's gone. And to me, that would be bad because, recently I did have a dream that we lost him at the beach. And I know that curiosity isn't going to kill my cat, but a Prius would. Window screens save lives. Now, once we get the all clear to start en masse leaving our apartments, whether that is by the door or the window, then there's one aspect of America I will never take for granted again, and it's this.
National
Don't get me wrong,
parks.
we have a fantastic national park system in the United Kingdom, and one, I wished I'd experienced more while I lived there. And the same thing is happening right now as I live in America. I feel like I haven't seen enough of the national parks, or even sort of state parks or state forests and things of that nature. Now, I have experienced one or two, Muir Woods near San Francisco, but I want to see the big ones. I've sold out at this point. I want to do Yellowstone National Park. I want to do Yosemite.
Ooh, Yellowstone looks good.
Badlands, all of them basically in a week. Can we make that happen?
No,
Why not?
because combined they're larger than Britain.
Right. The national park
Wow.
system is amazing, protecting some of the most unbelievable
Really?
natural settings I've ever experienced, or will experience, because, I want to enter the Grand Canyon. That's not a euphemism. So I've already said to the wife, when we get out of this, we're cancelling the Paris trip. Even though she's always wanted to do it, so that's a little harsh. We're just going to go out west, pack up our tents and grow mustaches like Teddy Roosevelt. That's me, not the wife. Now, those of you that are new to this channel might not know that I used to do travel videos back in the day. And today, at the top of Ensign Peak, a wasp stung me. But then that, combined with having to work a day job, just got a little challenging. So I put it on hold, but I think now that I'm YouTubing full time, I might start it up again. I don't mean tomorrow, I mean when we've got the all
So Didi, I wanna check it out.
clearance to go and do this sort of thing.
The people.
This one might be the biggest one of all, hence why I saved it to last, because after all, what is a country without its people? In America's case,
Exactly.
it's one big land of unregulated national parks. And I think this one is on the mind because, well, I haven't seen any people except the 1.5 that I live with. And the good thing, I think, that was surprising anyway about Americans and American people is just how nice most of you are. That's if you're not talking about politics or religion or PB&J sandwiches. Of course, there are wild exceptions, and I do mean wild, in any country, and I've certainly seen them here on occasion too. But they are the exception that proves the rule. Unlikely as it seems, I just have to look at the comment section beneath my videos. I know, sounds like a mistake. Never do that. But most of these Americans who comment, and for the most part, they're all really nice. You're all really nice, right? Most of you. I mean, I ignore the ones that aren't. I have a motto. Focus on the flowers, not the weeds. And maybe this is a bad example.
Actually, I have a nice anecdote to back up this statement that he's making about Americans being nice. At least being honest. I used to have when I used to live in Malta, I lived there for about 3 years. I tried to run an e-commerce. More than an e-commerce, was like selling various goods on eBay. And I still remember I was selling them worldwide. Whenever I was selling Europe, most of the time the people would be trying to scam me, saying, "Oh, the item didn't arrive. You gotta refund me." So what are you gonna do? You gotta refund them. When I sold in America, I don't know. I think I had like over 500 orders. Only twice people told me the item didn't arrive. One was without the tracking system, so I cannot know if that was for sure or not. The other one, I checked it with the tracking system and it actually got lost. So yeah, kudos for that. I mean, not many people, I can definitely attest that is true. Come on, because you're not trying to scam or anything. So that's something amazing. If you have a business, you gotta work and sell to Americans because all other people in the world are trying to scam you. No, actually, also Canadians and Australians, when I sold to them, they never tried to scam me. But Europeans, oh my God, especially Italians. I'm Italian. I'm proud of my country, but some people are just assholes. What can you do? That's mostly Europeans always trying to scam, but what can you do? What can you do? So that's a nice thing for you. Come on. Compliments. My compliments to you.
A good example would be in real life. Americans are very welcoming, you know, sometimes too welcoming. I've been invited to ranches by people I've never met. It's weird, but it happens. And I think it's just sort of bred into people to be hospitable. There's a lot of hospitality. You often hear of Hoosier hospitality, where I lived in Indiana. You hear of Southern hospitality, an appreciation for other people that goes missing on Twitter. But for the most part, you don't have those kind of interactions in real life, or at least that's been my experience of it. The interactions you have, I think, are mostly very nice. I think of going into shops, I think of going into restaurants, and I know that it's part of their job to treat the customer well. It can be split into two camps.
Yeah,
either
but
you get that really sort of over-the-top cheeriness because they want a higher tip, or it feels very genuine, specifically when you're in a shop and you just strike up a conversation with somebody.
you
it's
would
much
think
easier
that,
to
but
do
they're not
actually.
always nice.
We're a little more guarded, I think, about certain things like that. Wild generalization again, and of course I'm not saying that Americans are better than British people, but I think it's worth mentioning because if you're coming here and you expect everybody to fall into sort of one of 5 categories, right? Either a seedy boss type from an 80s Wall Street movie, a stoner kid, a surfer dude, they're one and the same, all of the characters from Friends, or Norman Bates from Psycho, then you're going to be disappointed or happily surprised, as I was. That's it for this episode. Thank you for joining me. Let me know in the comments below, specifically if you're not from America, what you were surprised that I was surprised about. And if you are from America, same. Listen, I divulge this kind of information.
The soccer fields, definitely. Let's finish the video.
On Twitter, where I just talk about British and American things in general. If you would like to be a part of that community, you can follow me at Lost in the Pond US, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. Finally, as ever, the longer this quarantine situation goes on, the more I am thankful for my patrons who have helped support this channel during this time, and the list of new patrons grows every day. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so at patreon.com.
Ah, that's amazing.
Until next time, have a great Sunday, have a great rest of your week, stay home, stay safe, and stay watching.
I love this channel. I love this channel. I gotta check out his Patreon page. By the way, I do have also a Patreon page. You can find it. It's the link in the description, the first one. So if you wanna support the channel, I mean, no pressure at all. I'm already happy that you're watching the video. So yeah, the soccer field one was really interesting. The other stuff, yeah, also the no leader. I mean, you go everywhere in Europe, pretty much you're gonna find the how do you call it, the last part of the cigarette that you throw away. It's gonna be every fucking where. Sometimes you're gonna even find beers, cans, so much shit on our streets. So yeah, that was really interesting. I mean, of course, I think it would depend. Maybe in a big city like Manhattan, in New York or LA, probably gonna find more litter than in smaller places. So yeah, this was really cool. Nice informations. So if you want me to check out other videos to learn more about America, please do so. I'm gonna try to react to your favorite video very soon. Wish you all a lovely weekend and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.